to protest and stop nuclear testing. Whereas a catch, did I say that word right? I don't know my shipping lingo. Whereas a ketch built in Costa Rica, which was approximately 30 feet in length, just a slight bit wider than me, was purchased by Albert Bigelow and outfitted and rigged in a short time to sail from the west coast of Hawaii and then on to the Marshall Islands, seeking to enter a designated testing area by April 1st, 1958, and remain there in an effort to bear witness to all men that it is essential for humanity to stop this race to human extinction. And whereas Albert Bigelow and his crew left and stopped at Hawaii for provisions and maintenance, and they were intercepted by the United States Coast Guard, I can assure you my father wasn't part of that interception mission. He was monitoring the weather off of the North Atlantic. And after being stopped, they were arrested, charged, tried, and sentenced, with their convictions being overturned on appeal. And whereas the Golden Rule generated an immense international support and sympathy and formed an integral part of peace witnessing that eventually led to the limited test ban treaty of 1963. And whereas the Golden Rule was sold in Honolulu and not heard from for decades, until it was found at the bottom of a bay in California in 2009. And whereas the Golden Rule's imminent destruction, it almost was sold for salvage. It's a miracle that it's here today. It was stopped by the Veterans for Peace. They stopped the salvage, and they said we need to preserve this history so we can continue spreading the message of non-proliferation. It was restored over 6 years and relaunched in June of 2015. And whereas the Young Friends of the New England Yearly Meeting in 1978 reported a public opinion poll concerning bomb testing and concluded that something must be done, the Golden Rule, the first peace vessel, is an icon for the symbol of peace, and it continues to sail as a testament to the message of peace. Therefore, be it resolved that the House of Representatives and the Senate and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts hereby welcome the Golden Rule sailboat to Massachusetts in support of a nuclear-free world, and resolved that the Secretary of State be authorized and directed to transmit a certified copy of this resolution to Miss Helen Jacquard, the Golden Rule Project Manager. Are you Helen?
I am.
Nice to meet you. Let's hear it for Helen. Yeah, so get out your cameras and we're going to present this. Say anything to say? How's it going, Mike Helen? Nice to see you again. So excited. So here is our beautiful citation. We're in the process of changing this seal. So that's something I'm supporting as well. But for now, here's the seal and here's the citation. Signed by Speaker Mariano, myself, Representative Sabadoza, Representative Eiderhoven, and Representative Barber. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Yeah. Snap a couple pics. I want to put this on my social media. Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's very special to be receiving a welcome from an entire state. That's rather rare, and we receive welcomes often from cities and sometimes counties, like the whole county of Oahu, where we were for several months. But this is really special that the whole House and Senate and Commonwealth of Massachusetts have welcomed the Golden Rule. Thank you for your hard work to make this happen and for presenting this certificate of welcome.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Now from 6'6" down to 5'6". I'd like to present the Reverend Christopher Ney, Senior Minister of the Central Congregational Church, United Church of Christ in Newburyport, Massachusetts. That's still in this state.
Thank you so much. My name is Chris, and I'm the pastor at Central Congregational Church in Newburyport, where the Golden Rule will be sailing by us on its way up to Portsmouth. And it is a great privilege. It's great to be with you this day and to speak on behalf of the War Resisters League and the Fellowship of Reconciliation, two of the oldest peace organizations in the country who are still doing the good work of promoting nonviolence, disarmament, the abolition of nuclear weapons, and who were among those supporters of the Golden Rule's first voyage in 1958. I prepared a little talk today, thinking about my role as a preacher, about the prophetic role that the Golden Rule played in 1958 of calling the world's attention to the dangers of nuclear testing and the threat of nuclear weapons. And I prepared a little talk today reminding us of the words of a prophet who warned us that a nation that year after year continually spends more money on weapons and social defense rather than on programs of social progress, that nation risks the threat of spiritual death. And I prepared this little talk to reflect on the manifestations of spiritual death that we might be seeing in our country and in our world around us. The fact that so many people still can't say those words, Black Lives Matter. The reality that the pandemic disrupted all of our lives, but it bore a heavier burden on some of our neighbors, our friends, and our communities. The reality that guns still take too many lives day after day in this country. The reality that not all of us are loved as beloved children of God, and that some of our kids take their own lives because they don't know that their authentic identities will be affirmed when they come out to their families and their friends. It's not hard to imagine that all of these and others, the threat of environmental disaster, are all manifestations of the spiritual death that Dr. King warned us about back in 1967. That was what I prepared to say today, but I realized that it's a little bit of a downer to end on that point, because the reality is that though the prophet's voice is often ignored, it is not unheard. Our presence today speaks to the fact that there are still folks who are listening to that prophetic voice that call us to put away the threat of violence and domination, greed and exploitation. We are here today because we want to make better choices. And so what I thought the most important thing that we might all need to remind ourselves today as we have gathered around this beautiful boat, the Golden Rule, is the Golden Rule itself. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It's the wisdom of the ages. It's the message of love. And in that simple equation, there is no place for violence, greed, domination, weapons of mass destruction. Let us go forth from this place recommitted to doing the work of reconciliation in support of that ancient wisdom of doing unto others as we would have them do unto ourselves. Thank you.
As they say in church, let the people say, thank you. And now we return to some music with Pat Scanlon. Pat is a longtime member of Veterans for Peace, long active in the nuclear Seabrook anti-nuclear operation, and has recently surmounted having had shoulder.
This is how far I can do it.
That's it. There he is. He's coming back, but his banjo requires his arm to be low, and he can still do it. Pat Scanlon.
And we got to get Holly up here. Get these things set.
So,
She's going to use your plug. How's everybody doing? You know, as I sit here and look out at all these beautiful faces, and I know many of you, and how passionate you are about this issue and other issues relating to war. But I can't help, it begs the question, where are the other 10,000s? Where is everybody? Why is this not the most crucial issue that we have to face as human beings? And where is everybody? Why isn't it connecting 133 countries, voted to ban the bomb, 9 abstained, 133 against 9, but the 9 who abstained, they're the ones that have the bombs. Crazy.
So,
What? This side. I got you on that side. I can hear you. Yeah. And you're plugged in? So, I gotta move this over here. But you know what? Why don't you move a little bit that way? Crowd each other here. Is that good, Ben? Okay. So as Ben did, we're both connected with Pete Seeger. He was my mentor, and there's nobody could get people singing better than Pete Seeger could. And anyway, so this is a song that I wrote for Dr. Helen Caldicott. How many people know Dr. Helen Caldicott? Dr. Helen Caldicott founded the Physicians for Social Responsibility and Women's Action for Nuclear Disarmament. And I wrote this song to her, and she loved this song. So we're going to try to teach it to you. Maybe move that back just a hair. So it goes, pop, there goes Boston. Bang, there goes LA. If we don't stop building armaments, someday we're gonna pay. Oops, we just lost Detroit. New York, it is no more. If that button ever does get pushed, it's death from shore to shore. How many are ready to sing it? So it's pop, there goes Boston. Bang, there goes LA. If we don't stop building armaments, someday we're gonna pay. Oops, we just lost Detroit. New York, it is no more. If that button never does get pushed, it's death from shore to shore. When I was in the military, Vietnam in '69, intelligence, we know that there's somebody here that may be undercover and mass peace action, and anyway, we know it well because we've been in federal court about this. But guess what? If there is somebody undercover among us, they will never sing these songs. They'll never sing these songs. So I want everyone to, as we start, I want you to look to your right and look to your left. And if you don't see lips moving, raise your hand so we can identify who that person is. Okay? We want to do them no harm, but we want to know who they are. Right? 2, 3, 4. Pop, there goes Boston. Bang, there goes LA. If we don't stop building armaments, someday we're gonna pay. Oops, we just lost Detroit, New York, it is no more. If that button never does get pushed, it's death from shore to shore. 5,000 warheads stockpiled as of today, waiting for the chance to blow the Russians all away. But the Russians got them too, they're no dummies, don't you see? Only difference there's appointed right you and me. And it's pop, there goes Boston, bang, there goes LA. If we don't stop building armaments, someday we're gonna pay. Whoops, we just lost Detroit, New York, it is no more. If that button never does get pushed, it's death from shore to shore. 200,000 died with the dropping of Fat Boy. All of them, they had a brand new, let's try it again. 200,000 died with the dropping of Fat Boy. All the generals smiled, they had a brand new toy. But on that fateful day, back in 1945, Mother Earth was crying, need I tell you why? And it's pop, there goes Boston, bang, there goes LA. If we don't stop building armaments, someday we're gonna pay. Oops, we just lost Detroit, New York, it is no more. If that button never does get pushed, it's death from shore to shore. Building MX, Marvs, and Mervs, this seems to be the trend. Which country will be first to experience the end? Who's ever blown up first, while the others right behind? Just to play this game, we must be out of our minds. And it's pop, there goes Boston, bang, there goes LA. If we don't stop building armaments, someday we're gonna pay. Oops, we just lost Detroit, New York, it is no more. If that button never does get pushed, it's death from shore to shore. Why, they want their B-1 bombers to try and send the crews. They got a nuke-proof bunker, what the hell they got to lose? For every bomb that's built, they're determining our fate. These weapons must be taken away, oh, is he at the pearly gates? And it's pop, there goes Boston, bang, there goes LA. If we don't stop building armaments, someday we're gonna pay. Oops, we just lost Detroit, New York, it is no more. If that button never does get pushed, it's death from shore to shore. I don't want our children dying from a thermonuclear blast, nor the radiation to follow, which lasts and lasts and lasts. This world, it must be free from the threat of nuclear war. The bomb must be dismantled and banned forevermore. Or it's pop, there goes Boston, bang, there goes LA. If we don't stop building armaments, someday we're gonna pay. Oops, we just lost Detroit, New York, it is no more. If that button never does get pushed, it's death from shore to shore. Thank you. From the looks of it, there might be a lot of undercover people here. So now we're really going to tell, because this song has a choreography. So I'd like to invite my son up, David, to teach everybody the choreography. Where's David Rothhauser? Dave, I know. I'm looking for the other David, too. David, you want to do this, too? You're the showman.
It's a very old
While we're waiting, David can teach you as we're some technical issues over here. David's going to teach you the, step up here, David. David's going to teach you the choreography. Now everybody watch. So it goes, wait a minute. Page, right? So it goes, there's There's no place to hide. Everybody, hands up. There's no place to hide once the missiles fill the skies. The earth, it's gonna die. It's too late to ask them why. It'll be over so fast. Makes no sense to cry. Just give your kid a great big hug and kiss your ass goodbye. Okay? So, so everybody, Fred over there. Fred, put your hands up. There's no place to hide. Come on out in the front row, come on. There's no place to hide once the missiles fill the skies. The earth, it's gonna die. It's too late to ask them why. It'll be over so fast. Makes no sense to cry. Just give your kid a great big hug and kiss your ass goodbye. So, Ben? Just say it out loud. Give the man the mic.
Hey, buddy, what are you going to do when the bomb falls?
Well, I'm a survivalist and I'm going to survive. After Armageddon, friend, well, I'll be alive. I've been through my training, got my ammo and gun. If my neighbor comes looking for help, I'll shoot that son of a gun. But there is no place to hide once the missiles fill the skies. The earth is gonna die, it's too late to ask them why. It'll be over so fast, makes no sense to cry. Just give your kid a great big hug and kiss your ass goodbye. Well, I've built me a shelter, put it deep in the ground with concrete and steel. I've made it safe and sound, filled with food and water for our civil defense. And around my bomb shelter I put barbed wire fence. But there is no place to hide once the missiles fill the skies. The earth, it's gonna die, it's too late to ask them why. It'll be over so fast, makes no sense to cry. Just give your kid a great big hug and kiss your ass goodbye. Well, then I'll move my family to the southern hemisphere. Australia, New Zealand, the bomb won't hurt us there, and radiation can't hurt us when we're far across the sea. Besides, I ain't afraid of nothing, friend, that I cannot see. But there is no place to hide once the missiles fill the skies. The earth, it's gonna die, it's too late to ask them why. It'll be over so fast, makes no sense to cry. Just give your kid a great big hug and kiss your ass goodbye. Well, prevention is the only thing on which we must agree. For disarmament and world peace, this I do believe. From nuclear war, there is no hiding place. Prevention is the only thing will save the human race. Cause there is no place to hide once the missiles fill the skies. The earth is gonna die, it's too late to ask them why. It'll be over so fast, makes no sense to cry. Just give your kid a great big hug and kiss that ass goodbye. But there is no place to hide once the missiles fill the skies. The earth is gonna die, it's too late to ask them why. It'll be over so fast, makes no sense to cry. Just give your kid a great big hug and kiss your ass goodbye. You were great! So we have another one. Where's the crew? Where's the crew?
Just gonna have to.
Okay. This is dedicated to the crew. I was an organizer for the Clamshell Alliance. How many people know what the Clamshell Alliance is? Okay, for those who don't, it's an anti-nuclear group that fought against the Seabrook nuclear power plant. And I was arrested up there, but of the 2 units that were going to be built, they only built one. And after Seabrook and after Diablo Canyon, there hasn't been another nuclear plant built. And we have to stop them because they want to build them. And as they say, electricity is too cheap to meter. the liars. So, this one.
I just get you there. You're there.
Okay.
You're there.
Okay. This one, it used to be, we're marching up to Seabrook. I used to sing this at the rallies up at Seabrook. But today we're sailing up to Seabrook. And I was talking to the captain, and hopefully when they come to Seabrook, they're going to stop the boat and they're going to get a picture of the boat from the west, from the east, the boat, and then the 2 units of Seabrook in the background. What a photo that will be. What a message it can send. So the chorus goes, we're sailing up the Seabrook. I'll wait for my part, right? Oh, this is Holly Gettings, by the way. See, I don't know how long we've been playing together, but we haven't played in like 5 years, so be kind to us. So, but, so it goes, we're sailing up the Seabrook, gonna write another page. Oh, we're sailing up the Seabrook, gonna end this nuclear age. We are sailing up the Seabrook for our family and our homes. Oh, we're sailing up the Seabrook, won't you join and come along? What do you think? Easy enough? I should get Jim up here to sing with us. So we're sailing up the Seabrook, gonna write another page. We're sailing up the Seabrook, gonna end this nuclear age. We are sailing up the Seabrook for our children and our homes. We're sailing up the Seabrook, won't you join and come along? You ready? Don't forget, look to your right, look to your left. See if those lips are... There's a member of Veterans for Peace right up front, and I haven't seen his lips move once. So, just to put you on the spot, Jesse. Okay. 2, 3, 4. We're sailing up the Seabrook, gonna write another page. We're sailing up the Seabrook, gonna end this nuclear age. We are sailing up the Seabrook for our children and our homes. We're sailing up the Seabrook, won't you join and come along? Where they may keep us out today, oh, but we'll be back again. This movement's gonna grow till that plant comes to an end. They have mace and clubs and doggies and big water pistols too. Our strength is in each other. You have me and I have you. We're sailing up the Seabrook, gonna write another page. We're sailing up the Seabrook, gonna end this nuclear age. We are sailing up the Seabrook for our children and our homes. We're sailing up the Seabrook, won't you song and come along? Well, the press will have their armies to watch our every move, so millions of Americans can watch us on the news. But it's time to take a stand, get out of your easy chairs. Go find a dinghy or canoe, come up and join us there. We're sailing up the Seabrook, gonna write another page. We're sailing up the Seabrook, gonna end this nuclear age. We are sailing up the Seabrook for our children and our homes. We're sailing up the Seabrook, won't you join and come along? Well, I know a family in Middletown has a little child. His young life, it was threatened, all thanks to 3 Mile Isle. We don't want an accident out on New Hampshire shore. We're coming back to demonstrate the Seabrook is no more. We're sailing up the Seabrook, gonna write another page. We're sailing up the Seabrook, gonna end this nuclear age. We are sailing up the Seabrook for our children and our homes. We're sailing up the Seabrook, won't you join and come along? What kind of world will this be for those who are yet to come? If we cover it with isotopes of plutonium, our children have a right to a world that's safe and clean. It's for them we sail to Seabrook, and together we all sing. We're sailing up the Seabrook, gonna write another page. We're sailing up the Seabrook, gonna end this nuclear age. We are sailing up the Seabrook for our children and our homes. We're sailing up the Seabrook, won't you join and come along? Why, we've been mighty lucky, disasters haven't happened yet. But there's one around the corner, playing nuclear roulette. Fukushima is the warning that we all had better hear. For China syndrome, it's the fact that Seabrook's mighty near. We're sailing up to Seabrook, gonna write another page. We're sailing up to Seabrook, gonna end this nuclear age. We are sailing up to Seabrook for our children and our homes. We're sailing up to Seabrook, won't you join and come along? We're sailing up to Seabrook, won't you join and come along?
I'm still learning that one.
Yeah. Come back to this.
Okay, that's great.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Holly. Is Ira here? I want to introduce Ira Helfand from the Greater Boston Physicians for Social Responsibility and Back from the Brink.
Thank you. I know we've all been here for a while, and I'm going to try to keep my remarks very short. The Golden Rule arrives here today at an extraordinary moment. We are closer than we have been to nuclear war ever. That's the assessment of all the experts. They were saying that before the war in Ukraine began, and with Putin's invasion of Ukraine and the flood of nuclear threats that have accompanied that invasion, it's really kind of hard to deny any longer that nuclear war, including a major nuclear war between the United States and Russia, is a real possibility. And I think the thing that's striking is that despite this extraordinary danger, as somebody has pointed out already today, we're a relatively small gathering here today. People are going about their business as though this danger didn't exist. And that has to change. We need to create the understanding amongst the general population of what is at risk. But we also need to help them understand the other thing that is really significant about this moment, which is that it is possible now to build a movement to get rid of these weapons once and for all. About 15 years ago, the organization that Physicians for Social Responsibility's Global Federation, International Physicians for the Prevention of Nuclear War, started a new campaign called the International Campaign to Abolish Nuclear Weapons, with the hope of securing a treaty that would stigmatize and prohibit nuclear weapons. We didn't expect to succeed, but we did. Less than 10 years later, in July of 2017, 122 nations at the United Nations voted to adopt this treaty, and it went into effect in January of 2021. As has been pointed out, the big problem here is that the 9 countries that still have nuclear weapons have refused to join this treaty. And so it falls on us who live in those countries, and particularly those of us here in the United States, to do something about that. So right after the treaty was adopted in 2017, we started a campaign here in the United States called Back from the Brink. We understood, as Steve Begley pointed out earlier, that neither the United States nor any of the other nuclear-armed countries were going to sign this treaty and ratify this treaty unless they all did, because they weren't going to disarm unilaterally. And so rather than asking the U.S. to do something which we knew it wouldn't do, we decided to build a campaign around asking the United States to do what it could do, what it should do, and what is necessary for it to do in order to be able for all of these countries to join in the TPNW. We asked the United States to recognize that nuclear weapons do not make us safe, that they are the greatest threat to our security, and to publicly pledge that it is willing to give up nuclear weapons, and that not only that, it feels that it is a matter of international necessity to give up these nuclear weapons, and to ask the other 8 countries who possess them to join with the United States in negotiations for a verifiable, enforceable, time-bound agreement for all of them to eliminate their nuclear arsenals. This movement that was started in Western Massachusetts, the home of the Frees, has now grown into a national movement. It is resonating with communities everywhere. We've gotten over 70 cities and towns to endorse this campaign, including some of the largest cities in the country. And a special thanks to Helen and the rest of the crew of the Golden Rule for the role they have played in securing many of these resolutions. We've gotten Boston, Baltimore, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., Chicago, Des Moines, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Tucson, Salt Lake City, Honolulu, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Portland, Oregon. They've all endorsed this campaign. The state legislatures in Oregon and California have endorsed this campaign. The state Senate in Maine and in Rhode Island, and the Assembly in New Jersey have endorsed this campaign. More than 400 NGOs across the country have endorsed this campaign. The U.S. Conference of Mayors just a week ago passed a resolution, again reaffirming their support and urging Congress to pass a resolution that has been introduced by Congressman Jim McGovern, HRES 77, calling on the United States to begin these negotiations. That resolution now has 28 co-sponsors, which is an extraordinary achievement in the just 4 months since it was introduced. And 3 of those are from here in Massachusetts. Congressman McGovern, who introduced it, Congressman Richie Neal from Springfield, and Congressman Ayanna Pressley from here in Boston. We want the other 6 members of the Massachusetts congressional delegation to sign on and co-sponsor this resolution. And we want Senator Warren and Senator Markey to introduce a companion bill in the state in the U.S. Senate. We also have a resolution here in the state legislature, S 1487, calling on the United States to adopt this policy. And it's been sponsored by, I think, at this point, 8 or 9 members of the Senate. There's an enormous amount that each one of us can do, and that's what needs to happen. No one of us is going to solve this problem alone. But each one of us has to do that part of the work which is ours to do. And if we all do that, I am confident and hopeful that we can seize this moment and bring about the fundamental change in U.S. nuclear policy and global nuclear policy that we need. You know, there's a tremendous responsibility that I think we all feel. We know the danger we face. We know the job we have to do. And that's a big responsibility. But I think we need to look at this responsibility also as something of a gift. And I say this especially when I talk to young people, to students in high school and college. Every one of us wants to do something good with our life. Those of us living today have been literally given the opportunity to save the world. And we should embrace this struggle in that spirit, knowing that if we do our part, sometime in the near future, maybe 5 years from now, maybe 10 years from now, we're going to all be able to look ourselves in the mirror and say, I helped save the world. And that's going to be a really great thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ira, for all the work you do. We'd like now to hear from an international student studying now in Boston, Lisa.
Hi everyone, I want to take on from Ira and address a grave and urgent concern that demands our immediate attention is nuclear disarmament and current conflict in Ukraine. This flagrant violation of international law and territorial integrity threatens regional stability and the principles of peace and security that we hold very dear. It is a stark reminder of the pressing need for nuclear weapons disarmament and abolishment. The conflict in Ukraine has caused immense suffering and upheaval. Innocent lives have been lost, communities torn apart, and the fundamental principles of sovereignty and self-determination trampled upon. The invasion serves as a chilling reminder of the destructive power wielded by nations and devastating consequences of aggression. In times like this, the pursuit of nuclear disarmament becomes all the more critical. The possession and deployment of nuclear weapons heighten the risks of escalation, turning regional conflicts into global catastrophes. The situation in Ukraine demonstrates the volatile nature of such conflicts and the immediate danger they pose to humans. We must remember that the consequences of using nuclear weapons are unthinkable. They have the power to erase entire cities, cause unimaginable suffering, and irreversibly damage our planet. The urgency to abolish and disarm these weapons is not just a matter of ethical responsibility, but a necessity for our collective survival. To achieve nuclear disarmament, we need international cooperation and concentrated efforts. It is incumbent upon the global community to come together, transcend political differences, and work towards a shared goal of world free from the threat of nuclear annihilation. We must invest in diplomacy, dialogue, and arms control agreements to pave the way for lasting peace. The conflict in Ukraine underscores the importance of diplomatic resolutions and respect for international norms. It is imperative that we engage in meaningful dialogue, address grievances, and find peaceful solutions to conflicts. By doing so, we can only prevent further escalations, but also create an environment conducive to disarmament. Russia, as a key player in the conflict, holds a tremendous responsibility. Its actions in Ukraine have raised concerns and reinforced the urgency for nuclear disarmament. We should implore global leaders to reconsider their course of action, prioritize dialogue over aggression, and commit to the path of peaceful coexistence. The current invasion of Ukraine serves as a dire reminder of the need for nuclear weapons abolishment and disarmament. We must act swiftly and decisively to prevent further escalation and secure a peaceful future for all. We should come together as a global community, united in our pursuit of a world free from the specter of nuclear destruction. Thank you.
Such a tall order. It almost calls for an extremist for peace. And Pat has written a song about that.
Where is Holly? Oh, here she comes. I'll tell you the story before this. It was back in 2012, Cole, I believe it was, that Mass Peace Action, Code Pink, and Veterans for Peace wanted to know what was the extent of surveillance by the Boston police of the peace groups. So they asked them, were ignored. They filed Freedom of Information Act and was ignored. And then we filed a case in federal court. And I was actually named, I was coordinator of the Smedley Butler Brigade at the time. So I was personally named in this lawsuit. And we got all this stuff from, and the ACLU, it was ACO and the National Lawyers Guild that filed the suit. We got all this stuff. And so the ACO, so a small group of us go into the office, ACO, and we're looking at all these films for a couple hours that they had taken. And then we were reading reports. And as I was going through a report, one kind of stopped me in my boots, because it started off by, this was written by a Boston police officer. It said, Veterans for Peace, an extremist organization, blah, 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 blah. And we know who the extremist organizations are, and it certainly isn't Veterans for Peace. So I wrote this song called Extremists for Peace. Barry Ladden, oh my God, I'm forgetting his last name. The president of Veterans for Peace heard the song. And he said, Pat, you just wrote a theme song for Veterans for Peace. That put into motion a whole lot of things where we ended up recording the song, and we also made a music video, which is on my website, patscanlonmusic.com. If you want, everything is free. And anyone here who I brought some of the CDs with me, anyone here who doesn't have one, come up. As long as supplies last, I'll be glad to give you one of the CDs, okay?
It's one way to get him out of the basement.
And, yeah, the closet or whatever. So, and Bonnie Gorman, who's going to speak next, is with our chapter of Smedley Butler Brigade of Veterans for Peace. So it'd be good, at least, if the veterans were to sing along with us in this. It's easy. It says, they call us all extremists because we're out here in the street. How unpatriotic. Veterans for Peace. They say we got to watch them like never before, because there's nothing more dangerous than veterans against war. So they call us all extremists because we're out here in the street. How unpatriotic. Veterans for Peace. They say we got to watch them like never before, because there's nothing more dangerous than veterans against war. I'm going to go through one time. 2, 3. They call us all extremists because we're out here in the street. How unpatriotic. Veterans for Peace. They say we gotta watch them like never before, cause there's nothing more dangerous than veterans against war. They stand on every corner with cameras in their hand, taking film and snapping pictures of everything they can. Upload photos, write reports on everything they saw, protecting all our citizens from folks who broke the law. They've been watching us so long, they know us to our core. They know we're peaceful veterans who know the cost of war. Because we've seen the horrors and the price we always pay. They've gotta document everything we do and say. But they call us all extremists, cause we're out here in the street. How unpatriotic. Veterans for peace, they say we gotta watch them like never before, cause there's nothing more dangerous than veterans against war. Well, war's a racket, Smedley said 80 years ago. 30 years of fighting, he once ran the show. A two-star major general who had something to say. When we go to war, a few profit, many pay. They call us all extremists, cause we're out here in the street. How unpatriotic, veterans for peace. They say we gotta watch them like never before, cause there's nothing more dangerous than veterans against war. Well, they got Homeland Security, FBI and DIA. State and local police, don't forget the CIA. They are so important, a clear danger to the land. Can't let this love and peace thing get too far out of hand. They can listen anytime to anything we say. Eyes and ears are everywhere thanks to the NSA. Read our emails and our tweets, monitor our calls. Fourth Amendment, just be damned, cause they're above the law. They call us all extremists, cause we're out here in the street. How unpatriotic, veterans for peace. They say we gotta watch them like never before, cause there's nothing more dangerous than veterans against war. Well, they got their brick, play all their tricks, wasting all our dough. All those files and photos with nothing much to show. So we raise our voices here today to let them know it's time. Stop hassling the peace groups, go back to fighting crime. They call us all extremists, cause we're out here in the street. How unpatriotic, veterans for peace. They say we gotta watch them like never before, cause there's nothing more dangerous than veterans against war. Cause there's nothing more dangerous than veterans against war. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat and Holly. Now from Bonnie Gorman, Veterans for Peace.
Good afternoon, Peaceniks. We love you all. Thank you for coming. I am representing Veterans for Peace, both at Smedley Butler and National, as well as Gold Star Families for Peace. I'm a Vietnam veteran, combat support nurse, medevac nurse in Vietnam, and my brother was killed in Vietnam, and my nephew lost in Iraq. So we know the consequences of war, and it's in blood and treasure, and it is worth you sacrificing all that you do for works on peace issues. Particularly, we have 3 bills I'd like to talk about briefly. Massachusetts Peace Action has 3 nuclear bills that are in front of the Massachusetts legislature, and we want you all to support all 3. We had hearings this week on those bills, and I will say we sent every member of the legislature the National Veterans for Peace Nuclear Posture Review, and it was very well received by the Massachusetts legislature. So Jerry Condon, who was one of the authors of that and a member of the crew, we thank you all, and we welcome our wonderful Golden Rule crew to Boston. Take care.
Thank you, Bonnie. Now a few words from Vernon Walker from the communities responding to extreme weather. Vernon.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. All right, so I'm the Reverend Vernon Walker, and I'm here in one capacity to represent the communities responding to extreme weather. And we are glad to stand in solidarity for peace, for justice, for wholeness, and to help and working with you all to help create a more just and sustainable society. Isn't that a wonderful thing? So when I say peace, when I say when do we want it, you say now. Peace, now. Peace, now. Peace, now. Peace. Now. So what we know is that peace, the issues of peace and justice are intersectional to the issues of climate change. We know that climate is the greatest existential threat to our human existence. We know that all communities are not affected equally, but underserved communities, communities of colors, communities of low wealth are disproportionately impacted by the climate crisis. And we know that issues of peace, and when we have the absence of peace, we have war, mayhem, and destruction. So I am so glad that the boat of the Golden Rule is here. And as we heard it mentioned earlier, the Golden Rule is to do unto others as you want done to yourself. That is how we can create a more just and sustainable society, when we love our brothers and sisters as ourselves. And that's how we are going to tackle the climate crisis, y'all. We know here in Massachusetts that we are grappling with the effects of climate change. It is clear that the fossil fuel industry must be held responsible for the damages it has caused. The fossil fuel industry is primarily responsible for the greenhouse gases that are now trapping heat in the atmosphere, leading to a rapid warming of the planet. The industry must contribute must contribute to the cost associated with adaptation and mitigation efforts. We know here in Massachusetts we have a few state bills. We have in the House 872, Bill 872, and in the Senate 481, and the name of the bill is called an act establishing a climate change superfund and promoting polluters' responsibilities. So this bill had a hearing on May 17th. And for those that live here in Massachusetts, we want you to call your state representative, your state senator, and let them know that you are in support of Bill H872 and Bill S481, holding polluters accountable for the damages they have done. What this bill would do, y'all, if it is passed, it will create $75 billion over 25 years from fossil fuel industry profits. This massive influx of revenue will enable us as a state of Massachusetts to fund nearly all our climate adaptation and resilience programs, protecting communities from the worst impacts of the climate crisis. The Superfund will support climate change adaptation projects statewide, with 40% of the funding directly benefiting environmental justice communities. So my sisters and brothers, I won't be here before you long, but I really came by to lift up the banner of solidarity, because what this world needs is for peace activists, for social justice activists, for housing justice activists, for environmental justice activists, for racial justice activists to bind together, to work together, to stand together, for youth activists to join the effort, and to all activists to join the effort to see that our issues are intersectional, and to see that we're all tied in the inescapable garment of mutuality, and what affects one directly affects us all indirectly, as Dr. King said. And when this coalition comes together, oh, there will be a mighty and massive change in our society. When this coalition comes together, we can drive out meanness, we can drive out hate, we can drive out evilness, we can drive out the use for nuclear weapons, we can drive out about mayhem, and we can create a society where the lion will lay down with the lamb. Oh, hallelujah. Where racial justice will be at the forefront of the agenda, where climate justice will be at the forefront of the agenda, where peace justice will be at the forefront of the agenda. But this won't happen through osmosis. This will not roll in on the wheels of inevitability. So I'm so glad to stand here with you today. I'm so glad to be in solidarity with you today. I'm so glad that we will send a message that we are stronger together than we are apart, that we will not back down. We will stand up for justice. We will lift up the arc of the moral universe. We will call down justice, and like a mighty rushing wind, we will continue to advocate till everybody in our society is loved, valued, and respected. We will continue to stand until the golden rule is all over our world, and then that we study war no more. God bless you today.
And as they say in church, let the people say, Amen. Thank you, Vernon. And to sum it up, from Mass Peace Action, Peter Metz.
They clearly put me in the wrong spot. That was the final wrap up. But let me just say, I want to remind you what the Golden Rule, I want to tell you what the Golden Rule means to me. But first, I want you to say it out loud. I want everybody on their feet to recite the Golden Rule. Come on, no sitting on your butts anymore. You've been too comfortable. Up in the air. Come on, come on. And if you don't say it loud enough, I'm going to ask you to say it again. Say the Golden Rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Not loud enough, folks. Come on, louder. We're going to try it again. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Okay, my mission is to remind us all that that's an action we have to take. And so we have to go away from here and act. We have to confront people who pass by. We have to talk to everybody we possibly can. Peace is not a static thing, it's an active thing. We have to work for peace. Just remember the Good Boat Golden Rule and all that the veterans of peace have been doing for a year and a half with this boat in their trek across the United States, and let's follow their example. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. And now from the Community Church of Boston, Dean Stevens.
Hello, folks. My name is Dean. They call me the music director and fake minister at Community Church of Boston. We're located in Copley Square. Mostly what I want to tell you about is tomorrow night we are holding a reception for the crew of the Golden Rule, and I hope you will join us. At 5:30 is a dinner, and at 7 is an event where we'll hear from them. We'll have some music, and we will watch a documentary about the Golden Rule. Please join us in Copley Square. We have parking vouchers, no spoonerisms here, for you. And please join us, 5:30, potluck and lots of good food. Our cook Luis has prepared a whole bunch of arroz con pollo and casamiento, which is rice and beans, and all kinds of good stuff. I have. It's online, yeah. It's you can find the information on our website or our Facebook page, Community Church of Boston. I have one song for you, and like many songs of our movement, it comes from Pete. comes from Pete, and it's called Come and Stand at Every Door. I come and stand at every door, but none can hear my silent tread. I knock and yet remain unseen, for I am dead, for I am dead. I am only 7